Okay, welcome back to another Mario Kart World video. In this one, I want to discuss the past games of Mario Kart and the tracks that came with them. So essentially the way this will work is I am basing all of the tracks and then giving a ranking to that game. So obviously there is all of the mainline entries, and I've also included Mario Kart Tour, the mobile game. I mean, this whole tier list also includes Mario Kart Home Circuit, that spin-off game. Obviously, that doesn't have like set courses. It was like, you kind of made a course around your house, to my understanding. I mean, that would be the name. So that's not included. But beyond that, all the mainline entries and the mobile game, whether you classify that as mainline or not, I don't know. But anyway, the tiers we have are amazing, good, some hits, some misses, aged badly, and was always bad. So I don't know if all of these tiers will actually get used. But I'm trying to keep it as balanced and as objective as possible without any biases. So, yeah. Let's start off with Super Mario Kart, the SNES entry, which was the very first entry into Mario Kart, of course. And the track design was, well, very basic. It was a few themes. I want to say maybe like 5, 6, maybe 7 at a push themes, because there was like 4 Mario circuits, there was like maybe 4 different Bowser's Castle levels, there was at least 2 Vanilla Lakes, there was a lot of different courses, but they were all the same styles basically. Like Donut Plains as well, I think is one. And so they were all like themed the same, right? And the overall designs were pretty similar across the board. So that said, I am pretty much gonna put this into aged badly. Now, I think a lot of people would say that it was always bad. The only reason I don't put it there is because realistically, you've got to remember how old Super Mario Kart really is. For the time, it was a popular game and people didn't have a problem with the track design. It was fun for what it was. Or at least, that's my understanding. I can't say I was alive. I can't say I know this, but I would imagine it has just aged quite badly. Especially because I would say the next entry into the series was such a big step up in terms of track design. That's for certain. So let's move on to that, because I think Super Mario Kart, there's not really a lot to say on the tracks. It's like I say, it's hard to really criticize something that was made in the early 1990s and say, hey, that was awful. And it's hard to say it was amazing because, I mean, let's be honest, it was never gonna age that well at this point. So I've put it in aged badly, and we'll leave it at that, I think. So anyway, Mario Kart 64, I should say. I want to say this was released in 1996, I think. I want to say that. I don't know if it's true, but anyway. Mario Kart 64. So, first 3D Mario Kart, and I would say a fan favourite amongst older Mario Kart fans, I guess. I think at this point it's kind of got like this negative reputation amongst some people because it didn't control great, and there was some hits and there were some misses basically with the tracks. That's where I'm going to put it. Or at least that's my opinion of it. I've played Mario Kart 64 since, well, obviously I wasn't alive when it first came out, but I've played it. And I remember enjoying it in the past, and now when I play it, it's a bit, I don't really enjoy it, but, which is to say it's probably aged badly, but the tracks themselves, because we're not talking about the game here, we're talking about the tracks, and the tracks, I would say, there's a lot of really fun tracks. And then there's tracks like, I don't know, like Wario Stadium, which has only just been remade for Mario Kart World and vastly overhauled and made far better. The original, it was long, it was bumpy, it was a bad track, right? It was just a bad track. And there was some interesting game design choices, like the Rainbow Road, for example, was really excruciatingly long for a track, because it made you do 3 laps around a track that, well, in Mario Kart 8, for the remake of it, it ended up being split into 3 different laps, or 3 different sections as the full race, which in some ways I think was a bit short. Essentially, I think the overall balance of what this Rainbow Road should have been is maybe 2 laps or something like that. I'm not really sure exactly what I would say with it, but basically, I would say for the most part, the tracks in Mario Kart 64 were very much just some hits, such as I really enjoy Yoshi's Valley. My head's completely gone, but there are other good ones, I assure you. Is Toad's Turnpike one? I could swear that is. That's like the original traffic Mario Kart track, I want to say. I think. I seem to remember liking that one. Maybe it's not good. I don't really know. I need to get the tracks up on my phone. I think that would be be a good idea. So, okay, I now have a bunch of the tracks actually up on my phone, so I'm not going entirely off of memory. So, Toad's Turnpike, like I say, I remember it being fun. Sherbetland was one that I really like. It's probably not great though on the 64, but I think the track design, which is again what we're going off of, the track design is good. I love Sherbetland. But I think the game was a bit too slidey in the original game, so it wasn't great for the 64, but the track design itself was good, and that's what we're going off of. DK's Jungle Parkway, great track. Weirdly, I don't really remember... Oh, wait, no, I do remember N64 Bowser's Castle. That's a fun one. So, like, yeah, there's plenty of fun tracks within the 64 version, shall we say. Okay, so the next one, Super Circuits. The one game of Mario Kart, which, again, I'll admit I haven't played a lot of. I am familiar with the tracks enough when I'm looking at them. To me, though, it's very similar to Super Mario Kart in that I would just say it's aged badly, but then I know I'm going to get flack for that, because I know there's a lot of people who love Super Circuit, and we'll always kind of have this thing of it's, like, the best one. I really refuse to believe that, personally, which is maybe objectively biased, but, again, it's one that I've not really played, and so I don't want to dwell on it too much, or, like, talk about it too much, because again, I don't know enough about this to be able to talk about it, but I think it's just aged badly in that there's a lot of cool concepts, I think, within it, like, and I think there's a lot of tracks that people really like, but the overall designs didn't really age great, I don't think, but maybe I'm wrong on that. This is the one where I am completely willing to be wrong on, and you know, people correct me on it, but it was made in 2001, and it was a handheld version of Mario Kart, the first handheld version, and there was some cool stuff in there. Maybe I could put some hits, some misses. I'm putting it in aged badly. Okay, like I say, we're going to skip over that, though, because I don't know enough about it, which, again, is maybe bad, but, you know, for me to be talking about something that I don't really have enough knowledge on, but still. On to Double Dash, which is one of my favourite Mario Kart games. I'm between good and amazing. I'm going to put it in good, but very high good. And I think I might change it to amazing, depending on the other tracks, I guess, or games, I should say. Because across the Double Dash tracks, there is a lot of really fun ones, I have to say. But then there's some more basic ones that I'm not massive on, like. So let's start off with kind of just going through each one, because I mean, not every single one, but enough of them so you can kind of understand my logic, which is Luigi Circuit and Mushroom Cup. It's just a basic track. It's got a kind of cool gimmick in that you can kind of go like 2 different directions and bump into cars that are on a different part of the lap to you, which I guess is cool. But it's just a basic track. But again, I don't know many Mario Karts which have a great first circuit. They're kind of just there as just a basic option. There's Baby Park, which is the most basic Mario Kart track going, yet it works. It works really well. I'm just looking through some others. Like Mario Circuit, bit meh. Mushroom Bridge, bit meh. Then Daisy Cruiser, really cool map. Waluigi Circuit Stadium. Waluigi Stadium, really cool. Yoshi Circuit I know is a fan favorite. DK Mountain's a fan favorite. You got Dino Jungle in there, Bowser's Castle, Rainbow Road. There's a lot of really cool tracks within Double Dash. But then there's some more just, yeah, not massive fan of them. Kind of like tracks, which, I mean, I wouldn't say there's many, so like, I don't know. I feel like there's enough tracks in there to make it amazing. We're keeping it good for now, but like, Double Dash fans just know, I see you, I might move it up to amazing. Mario Kart DS, okay. This was a game that I played a lot of, and it had a lot of really fun tracks, I do think. But then it also had some really bad tracks. So, I think it is the epitome of some hits, some misses, but because when it hit, oh, it hit. But when it missed badly. A good example of this is the game that brought you Figure 8 Circuit. I would honestly say probably the worst Mario Kart track of all time, in that it's just drive forward, there's nothing to it. It's really long driving forward. It's not like Baby Park, where it's like, you know, go forward a bit, turn, go forward a bit, turn, like that. It's an excruciatingly long time, and it's not fun. But then for every single one of them, you get your Waluigi Pinball, which many people will say is probably the best track in all of Mario Kart. You also get tracks like Tick-Tock Clock, which I really like, Airship Fortress, which is in Mario Kart World, but it's also obviously originally from DS. There's a lot of really, really cool tracks. And to be honest, I think I'm going to move it up to good, but you need to understand there are some bad tracks within Mario Kart DS, because, well, Yoshi Falls also exists. And, like, I can't remember being a big fan of Cheep Cheep Beach. It wasn't awful, I don't think, but that Mushroom Cup, it gets off to a really rough start with Figure 8 Circuit and Yoshi Falls, and then Cheep Cheep Beach being a bit meh. Luigi's Mansion, fun track, really fun track, but yeah, we're gonna keep Mario Kart DS in good, because the good is really, really good. And then the bad is, well, really, really bad, which is why it's below Double Dash, but I think the DS has some really good and creative tracks, so good it is. Mario Kart Wii, my favourite Mario Kart, I'm putting it in amazing. Why? Pretty simple reason is that, again, it's probably, I say probably, it is some bias, definitely. And I'll admit that. But I think the tracks are, I mean, again, rough start, you could argue, with Luigi Circuit, because it's a pretty boring track. But again, what opening track isn't boring? Moo Moo Meadows, I like Moo Moo Meadows, but it's not, you know what, no Moo Moo Meadows slander. I'm being biased, I'm stamping my foot down. Mushroom God, really cool track. Toad's Factory, amazing track. You know, it's a good Mushroom Cup. Then you get Flower Cup, Mario Circuit, bit meh, awful. Coconut Malt, really cool. DK Summit, really cool. Wario's Gold Mine, really cool. Star Cup, Daisy Circuit, bit meh, whatever. I think some people like it, but again, to me, just a bit meh. Koopa Cape, really cool. Maple Treeway, my favourite Mario Kart track of all time. And then Grumble Volcano, really cool. And I think you might start to notice the pattern here, which is that the first track is always a bit meh in each cup, and then I love the rest. Special Cup, I would say, is maybe the one change to this, in that Dry Dry Ruins is, it's a desert map. It's fun-ish, but it's a desert map. It is what it is. Moonview Highway is yeah, it's kind of like, it's cool at first, and then you kind of just go forward a bit and round a bend, and it's not great, to be fair. Bowser's Castle, really fun, really like that, and then Rainbow Road on the Wii, probably my favourite Rainbow Road, but I know I'll get some flack for that because it's based on bias, that, but the tracks are really good in Mario Kart Wii, and that is my simple explanation for that. Mario Kart 7. So what I'm realizing immediately is that with the like, well, with the tracks and games that we have left, I don't think Always Bad is really going to get used, to be honest, unless I decide to be really harsh on Super Mario Kart, but that's fine. So, Mario Kart 7. I haven't played this game in ages, so allow me to just refresh my memory on some of these tracks, because, yeah, I mean, I think the best way to describe it for me, in my own recollection of them, is it's some hits, some misses, maybe better than 64 in that sense, in that the Woohoo tracks are really cool. The Rainbow Road was like, it was revolutionary, kind of, to Mario Kart, and I think it was, well, it wasn't the first, you know, like Mario Kart 7 was the first to introduce the idea of sections instead of just laps. The Woohoo tracks and like the Rainbow Road, they had sections, and again, it's a really cool concept. There's a lot of other really cool tracks within this. I think people really like the I forget what it's called, the music track where you kind of like drift over like a piano and keyboard and everything. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool tracks within it, but there's also Toad Circuit, which again, I need to stop slagging off the first track of every single game, but come on. Like, that was a bad track. And, I mean, I'm looking at them, and to be fair, maybe it's a bit harsh to put some hits, some misses, in that maybe you could just argue it's just good, but I'm being slightly biased. I'm putting it in just some hits, some misses. Now, I'm going to put Mario Kart 8 in next. Now, we have both Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm just going to put Deluxe, because again, what I'm rating is, you know, all the original tracks that came from Mario Kart 8, and I will argue Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still Mario Kart 8, so, yeah. So, one immediate thing is that you could argue this is a good thing, you could also argue this is a bad thing. Mario Kart 8 has more tracks than any other Mario Kart game, and by which I mean new unique tracks and retro tracks, and what that means is that, well, Mario Kart 8 kind of, well, there's a lot of amazing, amazing tracks within Mario Kart 8. And I think it has, I would argue, the best first track in a Mario Kart game ever, like, by which I mean first in Mushroom Cup. Mario Kart Stadium, really good track. When you compare it to, like I say, literally every single other game, it is by far and away the best. But in terms of where I would actually put it, I think I have to put it in amazing. I think it is, like, there's a lot of really good tracks in there. I just think there's somewhere, like, again, I don't know if it's better than Mario Kart Wii in my own head, and I say I don't know, it isn't better than Mario Kart Wii in my head, and I think that's accurate, personally. I know maybe not everyone will agree with that, but I'm willing to die on that hill. I think there's a lot of gimmicks in Mario Kart 8, or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. You know, the anti-gravity, the underwater, and all of this, the gliding. You could argue that makes for far more interesting tracks than what Mario Kart Wii does, but I think Mario Kart Wii makes the most of the fact that it's a more simplistic game. Or at least that's my personal view. Again, nostalgia talking, I'll admit that freely. And I said at the start of this video, I'm fairly sure that I was trying not to be biased, and then I'm admitting to being biased. Who cares? I'm just being honest. Anyway, Mario Kart Tour, the mobile game. I think I'm just going to put this in the low bit of some hits, some misses, because I think that is objectively just true. I think there are some cool tracks within this, but I wouldn't go much further than that. There's a lot of very bad tracks. You know, it's got, I can't even name all of them. I've got them up, and I'm like, I'm not even recognizing half of them, but like, I think the basic point is that there is not many new unique tracks, and a lot of them are just based on like city locations, and like, I think the remakes of them in the Deluxe Booster Pass course thing in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is better than what they were in the original Tour version. But the designs, they're pretty fun, they're pretty good, but they're not great. They're just... Again, I think it's clear that they come from a mobile game. I think that is kind of its ultimate drawback. But then in some ways, you could say that, you know, like Mario Kart DS, Mario Kart 7 both have really good designs for handheld versions of Mario Kart. So is it really an excuse? Should I put it aged badly? I don't think I should, because I think at that point I might as well just put always bad. I think that's a bit too harsh, because again, I don't think that a game that's as new as Mario Kart Tour can really have it aged badly, so... I'm very much torn between saying some hits, some misses, or just saying always bad. But again, I know some people do like it, but you know what? I'm going to put it in always bad for the sake of not having any tier too overcrowded. I think my experience with Mario Kart Tour levels is that they're just... Some of them are alright, but I wouldn't necessarily describe them as hits. I would just say they're alright. And so I'm going to put it in always bad. Controversial maybe, but hey, something had to go there. Anyway, Mario Kart World. The newest one, and the one where it's weird, you know, like I'm not really sure what I make of the tracks in Mario Kart World. In the retro tracks within the game, I really like them. I like the choices and everything like that. I like the way they've reimagined them. And then the new tracks, I'm like, I like them as well, but are they better than Mario Kart 8's tracks? Maybe not. Are they as good as Mario Kart Wii's? Again, definitely not in my opinion. Are they better than Double Dash? Yeah, I don't know. Because you see, I think the big problem here is that some of the more gimmicky tracks that you can make in the other Mario Kart games aren't available in Mario Kart World because you have to make it open world, right? And I think that's kind of one of the big drawbacks of Mario Kart World, is that for as much as the open world element is a lot of fun, I really like it, I think some of the track designs suffer because of it. Maybe that's a really controversial opinion, I don't know how people feel about that, but because of it, I'm going to put it in good below Mario Kart DS. And that'll be my final tier list. So, like I say, everything to the left is the higher rating, and then everything to the right is the lowest rating. Standard tier list rules. So, my ranking is Mario Kart Wii in first, then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, then Double Dash, then DS, then World, then 7, then Mario Kart 64, then Super Mario Kart, then... You know what, no, I'm putting Super Circuit above Super Mario Kart. That needs to be established. I didn't mean to upset the Game Boy enjoyers. And then mobile at the bottom. Controversial, but is it? I don't know. So yeah, let me know your rankings in the comments, or if you agree, you disagree, anything like that. So yeah, anyway, bye.